Welcome everybody, Maxwell here with another World of Tanks replay, and this one was sent in by the user Relaxar. And he's driving the IS-2 on a standard Battle on Live Orcs IS-2 Tier 7 heavy tank. So Tier 7's always a very interesting, not really sure what's happening there. Tier 7's always a very interesting tier, especially to me. It's one of, well, let me explain a little bit. I always feel that Tier 5 is the main breakaway tier of World of Tanks. When you get to Tier 5, that's when different tank classes start to become properly differentiated. I mean, I know obviously there's light, mediums, heavies, and tank destroyers and artillery in before Tier 5. But any tank can really fulfill almost any role at that point, Tier 4. But at Tier 5, it's really when the different classes of tanks become differentiated properly, and different tanks become start to have different roles. Now in Tier 7, it's not necessarily a skill cap breakaway point, but I always feel it's a tank stat breakaway point. The Tier 7 tanks always seem to outclass the Tier 6 tanks by a very, very large margin. I mean, have a look at, say, this one, the IS-2. It's got 1,280, even just looking at the hit points, it's got 1,280 hit points. Its counterpart at Tier 6 will probably have about 800. And going down to Tier 5, it's about about 600 or 700. So there's a big gap in power between Tier 6 and Tier 7 tanks. So I always feel like Tier 7 is quite a sweet spot to play, because a Tier 7 can really hold its own against a Tier 8, depending on what class it is. Sometimes a Tier 9, but not very often. It'll have to be a pretty overpowered Tier 7. Whereas a Tier 6 really struggles up against Tier 7 tanks just in a, say, a one-on-one. But so that's always been my opinion. If you've got a different opinion, then obviously let me know in the comment section below. It's always good to have these little discussions. But like I said, I always feel that Tier 7 is a bit of a power jump from Tier 6, the like of which no other tier kind of sees, apart from maybe Tier 8 to Tier 9. So anyway, I've waffled on long enough about my philosophy of World of Tanks. So we're going to have a look at this replay specifically. Relaxar heading to the very northern flank. Being a heavy tank on Live Orcs, this is kind of your job. You go to the town, you battle against the other heavy tanks, and then you win or lose and ride on to glory. ARL making a little bit of a nuisance of himself. Maybe able to get a shot on the 38 NA depending on his reflexes. Not quite able to land any damage there. He was able to straighten himself up quick enough so that he didn't take any damage from the Panzer 38 NA, and doing a great job to turn that shot aside from the 150. 38 NA hung around for way too long without any support, and just gets himself eliminated for no reply. That's a mistake that you see a lot of light tanks doing, which is hanging way out in the front without enough support. If he'd had sort of two heavy tanks behind him, maybe, that would have been able to punish Relaxar as he came out to take him out, then maybe he could have been in such an advanced position. But as it was, he had no support whatsoever. Now we're going to see a prime example of what I was talking about earlier. Relaxar going up one-on-one almost against that T-150 and just coming out on top. But the TOG-2 comes in from the left-hand side. TOG-2, not a greatly maneuverable tank, but it does have a decent cannon on it, so he's going to be able to punish Relaxar. And the amount of hit points that the TOG-2 has is obscene as well. But again, we're going to see an example of what I was talking about. TOG-2 doesn't have great alpha damage, but he does have a good reload speed, so what Relaxar's doing here is keeping himself behind a building while the TOG-2 reloads, just to negate that faster firing. See, he is taking damage on every TOG-2 shot, but because he's keeping himself hidden between reloads, or at least he was, now he's in a side-scraping position. You see, trying to keep himself hidden, trying to keep his best armor pointed in the direction. You see, the TOG-2 is having a horrible time of this duel, and Relaxar just takes on a T-150 and a TOG-2 by himself and comes out on top. And that, I think, just perfectly illustrates the point that I was trying to make about the power jump between Tier 6 and Tier 7. And that is the town one now, but as you can see, there is a lot of enemy tanks arrayed across the hill there. Allies have won in the south, winning this one very comfortably at 10 kills to 7. But that hill is very, very easy to hold, so they could still come undone if not careful, allowing all the time in the world to aim on that T-28 concept. And he gets a great shot into his side armour. You can see the alpha damage of this gun's very, very nice. Being a variant of the IS that it is, does take some tracking damage from the FV. Looks like the artillery is now moved into the town for some reason. I think maybe they were fleeing from the AMX-12T, but for some reason they've ran right into the path of Relaxar. Looks like he's going to come around the corner and try and take out this Su-14, which he does. Now he's just got the FV to worry about. Also making a run towards the town. You can see this one firmly going in the direction of the Allies now. FV starts to make a run, but he gets obliterated. That just leaves an AMX-12T and that Panzer tank destroyer left. They're doing their best to try and hold off the assault from the south. Looks like the Allies have done this with an AFK KV-1S as well. So done a great job to come out so much ahead. 14 kills to 10 at the moment that they are. You can see the 12T pouring at the Jagdpanther. And the Jagdpanther's having none of it. He's just charging him down. And Relaxar are going to try desperately to get into range of this AMX-12T. He's got 5 kills. 4,000 damage is definitely no slouch at tier 7. He's done very, very well so far. Not going to get much damage off the AMX-12T, but if he can get a hit... Oh, 12T changes direction just at the last second. And Relaxar's shot flies just wide to his right. It looks like the 12T is going to leave himself hidden in the buildings. And Relaxar just needs one more kill to get a well-deserved Top Gun medal. He's trying to get into a position where he can see the 12T. I don't think the 12T realises that Relaxar's here, as he was making himself a little bit of a target there. He's going to have to try and charge him down, and we're just going to speed this one up a little bit. There we go, finds him, has a shot. That one just goes into the dirt. That was his last AP shell. Moving on to the gold rounds now, because you don't need gold to take out a 12T. Only joking, but he probably should have switched to high explosive if he was paying attention. Has one shot, a very expensive miss that one was. Looks like the 12T isn't going to be able to do anything at all to Relaxar. And in fact, to be honest, he could probably just come in for the ram. Decides to take him out with a shot, and that is the end of the game. So awesome replay there from Relaxar, picking himself up 4,000 points of damage, 6 kills, a well-deserved Top Gun medal. And again, like I said, just illustrating the power difference between tier 6 and tier 7. Having a brilliant time of it in the north there, taking out the T-150 and the TOG-2 by himself. So great replay from you. Thank you very much for sending that one in. Don't forget, guys, if you've got yourself a great replay, then send that into replay@screenreality.com. Link for that's in the description. Just attach the replay file itself or the link to the What Replay website to the email, and I can check that one out for you. And don't forget, if you enjoyed this video, you found it useful, informative, you learned something, or you just thought it was fun, think about hitting that subscribe button, because there's a lot more World of Tanks content on this channel. I've been Maxwell, it's been a World of Tanks replay, and I'll catch you guys next time.